Hi, I'm Sophie. I wanted to talk about the weaknesses, or probably better, more positive terms, areas of improvement for the INFJ personality type. I'm INFJ myself, also HSP, possibly empathic, I'm not sure. I know my mum is, and also I think my enneagram is one with a wing two. I'm not quite sure about enneagrams. I'm not an expert in any of these, but enneagrams I'm still like learning about. It's something that's like really interested me for a while now, I guess. I'm no expert in it. I only know really the basics, but I've always related a lot to what is said about that personality type and other personality types I've recognised in other people, and I've made them take the test, etc. So yeah, I seem to like putting labels on myself. So yeah, I want to talk about the common weaknesses. Well, common weaknesses from the 16personality.com website, which I know isn't MBTI verified, but I don't think I can afford the proper test. But I would like to do that one day just to make sure I'm an INFJ. I don't know why that's important to me, but I want to make sure. Um, so yeah, this is basically from my perspective how the weaknesses relate to me. They might not relate to you, but hopefully they do, so you don't feel so alone. But yeah, this is simply from my perspective. As cliche as it sounds, I've always felt like a bit of an outsider, sort of like an alien looking in on everyone else, especially at school, and teachers and students. I didn't have many friends at school, and just looking around and feeling quite alien like. Right, so on to the first one. Sorry if my words are all jumbled. Yeah, that's just me, and hopefully I'll be able to speak more clearly as I go on. So, the first one that is on the website is sensitivity. So, this is what it says on the website. When someone challenges or criticizes advocates' principles or values, they are likely to receive an alarmingly strong response. People with the advocate personality type are highly vulnerable to criticism and conflict. Question their motives is the quickest way to their bad side. So with the sensitivity, because I am a HSP, which I'm not sure if there's a correlation between being a HSP and an INFJ, maybe there is. I think I read that there might be, and they all sort of link the empath, HSP, INFJ. Obviously there's a lot of strengths to that, and that's what the HSP sort of philosophy sort of tries to emphasize, because I think a lot of people who feel highly sensitive, they sort of feel a bit strange and different, and they've always been told, oh, they're too sensitive, etc. So yeah, so obviously it has a lot of strengths: increased empathy, self-awareness, to being sensitive, but I have experienced those weaknesses, and quite strongly as well, being a HSP. I mean, in some ways I actually do have a very thick skin, surprisingly. I do have quite a morbid humour, type humour, and if people say something to me that's like a joke, um, or taking the mick out of me, or how I look, etc., I sort of laugh it off. I don't even see it. I don't even see it as an insult. I don't take it personally. I can quite easily laugh at myself, but I think that's in a very selective way. So it's a different story if it's something I'm very insecure about or feel very passionately about. As I'm actually a very turbulent INFJ, I think actually around a depressing 99% turbulent, which maybe is quite rare. I don't know, to be that turbulent. It shows sort of I've got a lot of problems in my life, as I know. Yeah, that slowly decreases as I get more tipsy when taking the test, because I tend to feel happier. Reacting negatively to criticism is a frequent thing for me if it is something that I am insecure about, which is quite a long list. Because I'm already in this very negative cycle where I'm like constantly risk assessing things I'm doing wrong and over analyzing when someone attacks something I feel very strongly about, my principles or values, something in life, I don't know, an opinion I have about the world, which I'm always looking at the big picture and sort of analyzing what problems are in the world, and I form a very strong opinion about it. And if someone tries to question that, I can get quite not aggressive, but very passionate is what I like to call it. Maybe it is quite aggressive, but like sort of quite I bark back basically. Like someone could be innocently giving me constructive feedback, or say a piece of work I've done, and I can be very analytical and defensive and question why they say that, and then they end up getting mardy with me and storming off. That usually is the case. So what I tend to do is I interpret any criticism, constructive or whatever, as a sort of like, so it's distance from being my own responsibility, like it can't be anything I've done wrong, as a form of like emotionally protecting my own insecurities or ego, whatever. But I think that is quite high with me being turbulent, and it's also quite an immature part of my personality, which is why they're called areas of improvement, and I'm trying to improve on that. So, sorry for rambling. So the next one I think links in well with the sensitivity element of the INFJ. So perfectionistic, that's a big one for me. So they say advocate personalities are all but defined by their pursuit of ideals. While this is a wonderful quality in many ways, an ideal situation is not always possible in politics, in business, in romance. Advocates, especially turbulent ones, too often drop or ignore healthy and productive situations and relationships, always believing there might be a better option down the road. Sorry if I stumble when I speak. I've always been sort of rubbish at reading quotes or passages of things. So I think my sensitivity to criticism is very much linked with the perfectionistic standards, if that even makes sense, I set in my own head. As I'm so hard on myself, when someone brings my weaknesses to light, it's like they're confirming this in reality, and that makes me very tense and sort of reactive. So this is something I've been working on and struggling with for a while, but really trying to work on. In terms of physically, I used to be a lot more obsessed with how I look, including my makeup, what I wore. I'm always seem to be overdressing more than most, but that might depend where I live. It's quite relaxed. Like people don't really wear makeup, they don't really dress up loads, which is fine. I wish I was like that. I wish I could just throw something on and go, but no, that's never been me. I've always been very meticulous about that. I'm always conscious of what image I'm conveying to other people. I'm getting better at this as I get older. It may just be an age thing. I'm 25 now. Today, for example, I feel like, I don't know, I just don't feel comfortable because I don't feel like I've made it as much effort as I should, even though who says you need to make an effort for a video? Why can't you just be your authentic self? But yeah, my hair's a mess to me, and that. I'm not trying to be obsessed. I'm trying not to be. So yeah, so in university in particular, I've been very bad with this. Obviously, I'm on a break at the minute. I'm not back until I think the end of September, but they haven't told us yet because they always seem to leave it to last minute, which I really dislike because, as we know, INFJs, they don't deal well. I don't deal that well with things being unprepared and last minute and being spontaneous. I would obsess over each line in my essays, read them over and over again, and making sure everything was perfect, even though it definitely wasn't. I am academic. I'm more academic than practical, basically. So yeah, just making sure everything was perfect. If the grades didn't meet the standards in my own head, I would get very emotionally affected by this, take it quite personally, see it as a personal attack, and then let it consume my mind for quite a while, especially obsessing over figures and grades and overall and percentages. yeah, I'd get quite obsessed with that. So yeah, I think I think I touched on this in the sensitivity one. As a self defense mechanism, I think I would try and blame anyone but myself if I didn't achieve what I set out to, and I would get quite nasty with this sometimes. It's like I have so many high standards in my head. If they aren't achieved, then there's no point really. I don't know, continuing. It's like I set these goals, and if I haven't achieved them fully, then it's like I haven't achieved anything at all. As depressing as that sounds, that's sometimes how I feel, but it's usually a passing phase, and I have sort of got better with this. But who knows when I'm in my second year, because that's when it gets serious. At least in I'm not sure how it works in other countries, but in the UK. So in terms of relationships, which is mentioned quite a bit in the 16personalities.com, it has a whole section on it. If they're romantic or just on a friendship level, because I have such an active imagination, so I'd envision this perfect relationship and then hold high, unachievable standards for people. But like I said, they'd never be as high as the ones I set for myself. And a lot of time I prejudge people and just put them into these groups before getting to know them, and then just cutting them out if they don't fit the standards. Not that I think I'm amazing or anything, but it just, to me, it needs to be this absolute relationship where I can just feel I can be exactly who I am and not have to sort of hide and not be myself. So the next one is extremely private, and 16 personalities have said advocates tend to present themselves as the accumulation of an idea. This is partly because they believe in this idea, but also because advocates are extremely private when it comes to their personal lives. They use this image to keep themselves from having to truly open up, even to close friends. Trusting a new friend can be even more challenging for advocates. So I always used to, when I was first doing these tests, I always used to disagree with this as a weakness. As I've always thought I wasn't a private person, but I think that is because I've tended to only really surround myself with people that had fully earned my trust. So I could be open and show my weird, quirky INFJ side, where I just completely sort of unravel and let this mask down. Not that in a fake way, not that I'm fake, but just this mask that I'm putting on for other people rather than for myself. So once I get to know someone better and feel comfortable around them, I feel I can let down this image, or like I said, or character that I tend to adjust to suit the other person's needs. Like if they want someone who's confident or extroverted, or they're that way, I just feel this need to match that, even at the detriment to my own well-being. So basically, when I'm talking to someone I'm not comfortable with, it's like I'm always thinking of the other person, almost feeling like I'm in their head rather than my own, if that makes sense. So if this goes on for a long time and I feel like I'm always doing it, I end up actually being quite rigid, tense, and withdrawn. I feel like if there's no point in being able to be myself, then I just completely close up and almost be no one. Or just not be myself or them. I can also come across cold. On the other hand, when I'm with relationships, or close relationships, friendship or romantic, whatever, I feel like I'm always almost like experimental and testing with people I'm close to. Instead of letting the trust naturally evolve during a relationship, I can almost force it out of someone because I'm so keen to feel comfortable and show my true self. I can sometimes go overboard and be too open with people I'm not close to. Seeing if they can almost handle me, not like I'm some sort of creature. Well, I have my problems, but yeah, I'm not some sort of witch. So yeah, that boundary, setting that boundary between not being myself and then being myself at an extreme, intense level, trying to get that balance is something I can sometimes struggle with. With the privacy, I can also be very suspicious and paranoid of other people's motives. I generally have lost faith in the human race because I feel like the world is just going downhill in so many ways. There's been a lot of good and a lot of awareness and changes that have been made, but I feel like, yeah, they're small compared to all the other advancements, the negative advancements in the world. So yeah, so basically, if there's any inconsistencies in what people are saying, I feel like I tend to pick up on them. If there's a bit of dishonesty and there's a pattern formed from that, I tend to follow it. But sometimes if I'm not in a well state, especially being a turbulent one and healthy INFJ, sometimes these inconsistencies or these bad points in people that I think I've noticed are maybe not even there, and I'm just being hyper aware to them, like over aware. Right, so the next one is always need to have a cause. So they've said advocate personalities get so caught up in their pursuits that any of the cumbersome tasks that come between them and their ideal vision is deeply unwelcome. Advocates like to know that they are taking concrete steps towards their goals. If routine tasks feel that they get in the way, or worse yet, there is no goal at all, they will feel restless and disappointed. Right, so I've got my notes here, by the way. If I'm glancing down, that's because I'm not falling asleep. I'm looking at my notes. So I feel this is very prominent in the situation we've all been experiencing in this pandemic, whether you're INFJ or whether you're ESTP. As I haven't been at university and I've been having a break, I'm still working a part-time job. I have had more chance to look at the practical side of things and do work around the house. I don't have any interest to be more practical in terms of like painting walls or whatever. I like organise my drawers and stuff, but I just struggle with it. It just feels so routine to me when I've got all this going on in my head, all this deep processing and probably mainly negative processing of the world and the big picture of it all. It just feels pedantic to me, which I know it isn't. I know it's important. We need our practical people as well as people like me when they're less turbulent, not 99% turbulent. So yeah, but on the other hand, and I used to be like this a lot more, I can get so caught up in household tasks and making sure it's all in control because it's a weakness of mine. So therefore I feel the need to organise it as much as possible, get it out of the way so I can focus more on the things that I'm better at, which isn't that. So at the moment, my prospects, and particularly my work prospects after my degree, do feel unstable, and that lack of control into my future can make me feel quite like what I'm doing is lacking a concrete cause. You know, I'm not certain about it. I don't feel like I'm working towards any concrete goal. It all feels a bit hazy. It can easily go downhill from there. I can just get so caught up in my head and just watching moody dramas and just not really focusing because I don't feel like I'm working towards anything. I say I'm naturally a hard working person when I'm in the right state of mind. I can sometimes even go overboard of that. But yeah, a small example of this is when I'm asked to do like a small, quite drudgery task at the job I'm currently doing part-time. And I always have to query why I'm doing it. If you ask me to do something because I'm a PA, I will go, yeah, sure. Why? Why do I need to do this? Why is it? And he's probably frustrated, just get it done, you're my PA. I always want to know how it will contribute to the bigger picture. Sometimes I think I just need to do rather than always asking why and overthinking it. So another one, which is a big one for me, is can burn out easily. And they've said, 16 personalities have said, their passion, impatience for routine maintenance, idealism, and extreme privacy tend to leave advocates with few options for letting off steam. People with this personality type are likely to exhaust themselves in short order if they don't find a way to balance their ideals with the realities of day-to-day living. Now, this is a very big one for me for as long as I can remember. Obviously, simply being introverted, which is not just my personality type, it can be very draining when you're around lots of people. And obviously, I think we live in quite a largely extroverted world. But the problems in the world can be very overwhelming, which makes me burn out easily. Like I avoid looking at the news and the radio and the negative stream of content which people tend to be drawn to, a morbid curiosity, which is sad really, but I guess also negative things going on in the world, crises, pandemics. They're obviously very important and maybe good to look at because you need to know, so see how you can help. But yeah, just looking at it can just get me down because of all the negativity. But then, like I said, I feel like I'm almost ignorant and hiding from the problems, which is maybe more selfish. I'm thinking more of myself than other people out there. I'm okay. I'm in a comfortable situation where I'm away from most of these problems, especially where I live. I feel like I've got a lot better with this, with this feeling of overwhelm. But in a lot of quiet moments, especially when I was younger, I used to get this even when I was like a little girl, and I feel like weird and like, why am I thinking about this? It's just come on all of a sudden. I literally maybe be on the toilet. I would just get this sudden rush of overwhelm and feel almost dizzy, like I had to put my head in my hands and like massage my forehead to try and get this negativity out. I've said negativity way too much in this video, by the way. I realise that. I just don't know what else to say. How else to word it. So yeah, I just tended to feel dizzy with all the suffering and things that I couldn't control happening in that exact moment, which nobody can. I just wish I could turn a switch and stop it all. But I know I can't, and then that would make me really down. I just sometimes think that it's pointless making any small improvements to it, which is obviously it's not the way to go. Every sort of improvement, if everyone made small improvements, it would enlarge to a bigger improvement with all that sort of collective support. But yeah, perhaps this is linked, this avoidance in making small improvements is maybe linked with this big picture idealism thing that is common in the INFJ personality type. I don't think I'm as empathic, or well, I just say I maybe am empathic, but maybe not as much a people person. I'm not so drawn to helping people at the moment. I will help people close to me, but I feel like I'm more a person to distance myself or hide. And that's just me being brutally honest. I'm not trying to make out I'm this really nice person, because not all people are, not all INFJs are, not all HSPs are. I don't I'm not so drawn to helping people directly in front of me. I'm more drawn to looking at how I can help the whole world and, talking dreamily about big philosophical ideas. And yeah, it's probably not the best thing, but that's the way I am. But yeah, I do feel like frequently in tune with other people's energy, and that can be draining even in small amounts. Yeah, so a very random example, is if someone has a hangover. I can't, when I drink, I get very bad hangovers. If I drink a lot, if I'm inside drinking, I'm fine because I feel comfortable. I feel like I don't have to drink too quickly because I'm nervous. I don't get hangovers. But if I'm out socially, I feel a sort of pressure to be just more confident, more extrovert. So I probably over drink. So if someone has a hangover around me, I just feel like I can feel those exact same feelings. I could be completely sober and hadn't drunk the night before, and I can feel their feelings like I'm hungover when like I said, I haven't even drank. So then I'll sort of freeze, and I want to panic and go crazy and try and make them feel better. See what I can do to make them feel better. To try and eliminate their pain. Right, so that's the end of the list of weaknesses. Obviously very generalized. They might not relate to everybody. They might not even be, I don't know if they're even that true. It's just a list from the website. It isn't MBTI verified, but yeah, it's just a list. So just to end this, I don't mean this to come across like I'm victimizing myself. I know I've spoken very negatively, and maybe think, oh, she's trying to get people to feel sorry for her. I'm just saying how it is and how I relate to the weaknesses. I do see the weaknesses as more improvements. I'm trying to work on them rather than using them as an excuse, because I know with MBTI and personality types, I think people, well, I've definitely been guilty of this. They can say, oh, well, this is just the way I am. I've got these labels. I'm introverted, therefore I can't be extroverted. Instead of thinking, well, I'm introverted, but sometimes you do need to be extroverted, like in some environments, say in work, around a group of people. You might have to be in some of these cases. So yeah, it's about developing your other functions, your other weaknesses. Rather than using them as an excuse and just saying that this is just the way I am, therefore I won't change. So I found two quotes that I really like. But yeah, so I found this one from the girl herself, the woman herself, Isabel Briggs Myers. By developing individual strengths, guarding against weaknesses, and appreciating the strengths of other types, life will be amusing, more interesting, and more of a daily adventure than it could possibly be if everyone were alike. So I really like that one. I think was she an INFJ or an INFP? Yeah, I really agree with that one. And from this guy I'm not familiar with, Roy T. Bennett, he quotes, make improvements, not excuses. Seek respect, not attention. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm so sorry it's rambled, but it is my first video and I am working on sort of trying to be better at public speaking, because I've always been rubbish at it. I've always had to sort of memorize things instead of just going with the flow, because yeah, I think it's common with INFJs to sometimes struggle to get their point across, which can be frustrating. They can have it all in there, all ticking away, all great, all organised, but when they try and speak it out, it's all overwhelmed and blurted out. So yeah, I'm trying to practice that more. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video and maybe related to some of what I was saying. So yeah, take care.